So there has been massive flooding in Louisiana, really underreported here because in some ways the flooding is as damaging as Hurricane Katrina, at least according to the few news reports coming out of Louisiana about this. Now obviously there was not a giant hurricane that was connected to it, part of the reason why there hasn't been much news on it, but there's been torrential downpours and historic flooding. In fact, let me give you a little bit of that. NBC News says 7 people are already dead and thousands of homes damaged by historic floods. I'm going to show you a video on that in a second. John Bel Edwards, the governor of Louisiana, says we won't know the death toll for sure for several more days, so you can get a sense of how much the damage has taken its toll, including today. More than 20,000 people have been rescued from the floodwaters, and over 12,000 remained in shelters Sunday night, according to the governor. And Barack Obama even says it's not over. The water is going to rise in many areas. It's no time to let the guard down. And in fact, of course, he's declared an emergency and is sending funds to Louisiana to help right now. And back to NBC News, they say at least 6 rivers have hit record levels in Louisiana since the deluge began on Friday. According to the Weather Channel, it said I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this, the Amite River, locals will get mad at me for not mispronouncing that. Anyway, exceeded its previous record by over 6 feet in Magnolia. Exceeded not its normal amount, but its previous record by 6 feet. So, look, I'll show you some pictures here from Louisiana. Baton Rouge has been hit and some of the other areas, but you can get a sense of how bad the flooding is. Look at that water and how high up it is. People going into one another's house through boats and trying to rescue people from inside their houses. Cars buried, houses buried, streets buried. There is an argument to be made that perhaps human beings shouldn't be living in Louisiana. And I feel bad saying that because there's a lot of good folks in Louisiana who, of course, call it home and don't want to move and wish that there were better protections. Now, in the Baton Rouge area and some of the areas affected here, there isn't anywhere near the level of levees or any levees, to my knowledge, as there are in New Orleans. But obviously we're having issues here in different parts of Louisiana with significant flooding a great number of times. So East Baton Rouge, Livingston, and Ascension remain at risk until Thursday. I don't know how many times you can go through this and stay in the area. But look, on the other hand, of course I want those folks protected. And it is not an easy task to move, especially if you're poor or you're middle class. How in the world are you going to pick up and go? But this flooding does happen in Louisiana far, far too often. So, and obviously it's different areas. Sometimes I've heard reports that flooding recedes in one area and then all of a sudden rises in another, and it seesaws back and forth. And it is obviously a lot to deal with for the people in Louisiana. But we're Americans, so wherever this flag is flown, we take care of our own. So let's hurry up and get to the rescue for Louisiana.